Hi there. I've already made this video twice and messed it up both times, so third time lucky. I'll try and keep it short. What I've done is I've bought this stylus, capacitive stylus. I call it a Targus Laser Pen Stylus. I've already unboxed it. I'm not going to do an unboxing because there's not much to see. It has a laser pointer in one end, which is quite nice. Nice, handy to have. It's got a nice pen. Quite a nice weighty pen, and it has the capacitive stylus, which is here on the end. Well, it's just a little squishy, sort of leathery, rubbery feeling thing, quite smooth but squishy. All it does is it replaces your finger. Now the point here is that this, for those who don't know, this is a capacitive stylus. It works on touch screens like this. This is like an iPad or an iPhone or a typical smartphone has. The low-end tablet PCs have this type of arrangement. It's really when you're meant to be using your PC with your fingers. And they just give you this kind of stylus as an alternative to a finger. It behaves exactly like your finger. It doesn't do anything else. That's completely different from a tablet that has what's called an active digitizer in the screen, and it's got a little transmitter in the pen, and it can read the position of your pen and the pressure of your pen and so on the screen, and it's a completely different thing. Those are much more accurate. They have lots of levels of pressure sensitivity, and you can do things like you can put your hand on the screen while you're using them. You can't do that with this kind of pen, because as soon as you put your hand on the screen, you're activating something on the screen. So this is just a replacement for your finger. The idea is that maybe you can control it a bit better, maybe you can do some writing with it, do some basic sketching, and that's exactly what I want to do, is to be able to draw some basic sketches on screen when I'm taking notes at a meeting or I'm with a client. I just want to show them something. I was doing it the other day, wanted to show some website navigation, and I had to do it on a piece of paper. So I have the tablet, this tablet, Asus VivoTab Smart ME400C. It does not have a digitizer. It's the cheapest tablet of its type, dual core Atom. Finding it very nice. I have a review up on my channel of this PC. You can see that if you want to. I want to be able to take notes. I have the OneNote Metro app, or Modern UI app, and that is a great app, and that's what I wanted to use for taking notes. Now, let me just set the focus here on manual so that it doesn't lose it. I expected to be able to come in here and make a note. Didn't happen. I looked everywhere, looked at all these little menu options, nothing. There's no way to make a note. It simply would not accept any pen input. So I looked at their website, and they suggest that yes, it does work. It does use pen input. So I'm guessing, and this is only speculation, that the application, this is the Modern UI application, probably detects an active digitizer and then enables the drawing facility. If it doesn't detect that, it thinks you can't draw, you haven't got a digitizer, so it doesn't enable it. You can only type. That's a shame. I don't see why it can't let me scribble with my finger or with this pen. And so anyone else in the same boat, what I recommend is, if you have this app, go down here, flip up from the bottom, there's a feedback button. Go here, type in, please allow us to use the drawing facilities with capacitive pens or something like that, or even without an active digitizer, and just send that to them. I think they might add it. That would help. I've done it already. Okay, so that was very disappointing because I wanted to use this app with the pen and be able to do some basic sketches. So, fail. To the rescue comes Office 365, which I just purchased a couple of days ago. The subscription online, bargain in my view. You just pay an annual price and get Office 365, the full Office edition, full Office with everything it comes with, plus a bunch of extras like another 20 gigs of SkyDrive and 60 minutes of Skype a month and so on to landlines around the world. So I use Skype all the time, so that's great. And you can install it on 5 devices. It comes with full Outlook, so not like one of those cut-down Offices. You get proper Outlook with it. And all on 5 devices, so I've already got it on 3 around the house. Got 2 more to go. That also has desktop Outlook. So if we go to the desktop, desktop OneNote. Here's desktop OneNote. Now this app is looking too bright on the screen. Well, not much I can do about that. I'll try and darken it slightly. Okay. This works. I can come in here. I can open the toolbar, the ribbon bar. I can go to the Draw tab, and then I can select a pen, and the toolbar vanishes at that point, and I can start to do stuff on screen. That works. It's okay. The only downside with this is that if I pin the ribbon bar out here like this, as you can see, it goes down that far down the screen. Well, that's what, 2/5 of the screen already gone just for the toolbar, and that's the problem with this. OneNote Desktop is not meant to work on a screen this small, so it doesn't work that well on a screen this small. It works, there just isn't a lot of space left, and if you make it auto-hide the ribbon, then it's not very intuitive. You have to go back and forth and hide it and expose. It just becomes a drama. So not that great. But, you get lots of pens, color, the eraser. The eraser is good. This has got the best eraser because you get small, medium, large erasers, like that. But you also get a stroke eraser, which just erases the strokes that are on screen. So you can remove one whole stroke at a time. That's really useful. None of the other apps I've just tried today let me do that. So there we go. It's a bit goofy with the scrolling. You have to scroll there. If you try and scroll with your finger, you end up drawing on the screen. You see, you try and scroll, you can't. You draw. Back to the eraser, undo all that, and so on and so forth. Once you've drawn something, once you've drawn something, it does let you select things, and then you can move them places and so on, resize them or do whatever. It's all vectored or something, it looks like. That's quite nice. Yeah, pretty cool. Delete that, get rid of it all, and done. And otherwise it's got all the goodness of OneNote. You can you don't have to save or open anything, you just close it and that's it, synchronized everywhere. That's okay, but just beware, if you have a tablet, you need a tablet that has the full desktop experience, not an RT tablet, not a Windows 8 RT tablet, because I think those don't have the OneNote Desktop app. I need to check that. I think they might, not sure. Just check if it has the OneNote Desktop app, but the main point is the OneNote Metro app does not give you sketching with the capacitive stylus. That's the point here. Other apps in Windows, there's one more here in Windows that works. Good old Windows Paint. Now this program that's been around forever, and the zoom is so horrific that you can't just step up to 120% or so, you only can go up to 200%. Well, this is how you can tell this has been around forever. If you open the color editing dialog, that's like the same one I recall from at least as far back as Windows 2000, if not as far back as Windows 98. I don't quite recall. That's exactly the same dialog. And this program, this is the desktop Windows Paint, which now has a ribbon bar. You can pick a brush up here, and it always puts a splotch on the page when you do that, so you've got to undo that, and then you can do your stuff. Okay, You can erase. The eraser just works on the size of the pen here, and it's just, you know, like that. Otherwise, you've just got the undo, and there's no stroke erase like Outlook or like OneNote had. It works. One thing about this is that I really liked is it's the most sensitive. It's of all the programs we've tried today. So the drawing here is very fast. See? It actually picks up the pen movements very quickly. There's no lag. It doesn't lag behind. It doesn't feel like you're dragging something behind the pen. It gives you pretty smooth curves. Not bad at all. You love my picture? gives you very nice sensitivity. One thing it doesn't do, or that's not so great. Let me see if this will get me all the way back to a clear canvas. No, it won't. How do I get a clear canvas? View. Nope. Home. Select all. Cut. Gone. You can. I need to test this on a Core i3 or i5 tablet, but this is the brush, one of the brushes. Okay, here. There we go. You see, it's a brush. Gives us a smooth, this kind of stipple finish. If I go across the page slowly, it's nice and even. If I go across the page quickly, and that doesn't show it very well, let me change to a smaller brush size. Slowly, quickly. There. See how that's stepped? Sort of goes ding, 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 like that. It's because it's just not picking up the pen. It's only sampling it, you know, I don't know what the sample rate is, but each one of those splotches is a sample. And you shouldn't get that on a high-end PC. You shouldn't get that on a much faster, with a proper radio digitizer. You should be able to get, you know, go any speed across the page and get a smooth stroke. And so if you're doing artwork on a tablet, you need a tablet that can handle doing that. Something like this is not really up to it. But it's up to basic sketching and up to handwriting. So let me just close that. Forget about it. So that's Windows Paint. That's the only other thing on the desktop actually that's useful. Perhaps, let's go back into OneNote, is put the cursor there somewhere, bring up the keyboard. Now this of course works on the desktop and the any of the apps, anywhere in Windows actually, is to use the text input, sorry, the, what do you call this, handwriting recognition pane. And this is, you have to keep your hand off the screen again, so that's really the only drawback. So you have to hold your palm above the screen, which makes it harder, and I've just made mistakes. Oh no, hello. It also is smart like a phone too, in that it sort of tries to predict what you're doing, what you're saying. How are you? Plonk, plonk, plonk. Question mark. 7. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Question mark. Yep. Insert. Hello, how are you? Puts that in there. So you can write on this. Whoops. How do you get rid of it? Hoax. There we go. You can write. It's a bit goofy, and my handwriting's terrible, but you can write her on this. Oops. Didn't like that. Get rid of that letter, get rid of that letter, get rid of the whole word. Put a word in there. Well, oh, it got it at the end there. In any case, yes, you can write notes with the handwriting recognition. Again, with a proper stylus digitizer, active digitizer, it would be far better than this. But it's possible with this. Let's get out of OneNote and get out of the desktop. So I wasn't getting very far. Next thing I tried was EverNote. This app here is included with this Asus. It's called Asus EverNote, I think, and comes with the tablet. It's pretty intuitive. You add a notebook, add a page. You can choose different page styles with lines or without and so on. It's got 3 modes: write, type, and draw up here in the corner. Writing is weird because it's like the handwriting recognition, but it's not in the Windows panel down here. It's anywhere on the page. Oh, and it's weird too. Hello. How are you? Okay, so I write that. It takes what I've written and it pops it into the corner here, like that. And it's the exact same way I wrote it, so I don't know if it's looking at the letters or not, but it's taking what I've written and sticking it in the corner and following the lines. So I guess if we keep writing, you know, wherever, if we keep writing, if you got good handwriting, you can take notes like this just by writing anywhere on the page. I guess if you're good, you'd do it right up there, and if you had a good pen. So that might be useful for some. Not really any use for me. There's a typing mode where you get the keyboard, and then you can use this, and so on. Hello, insert. Puts it in as proper text. Okay, and then we have the draw mode, and so this is the one I'm interested in. Want to be able to sketch. This is where you do it. So again, I'll say hello, how, blah, 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 blah. It's not as sensitive as paint. You see I get some jagged bits in the curves. But yeah, you can actually get a nice smooth curve. It's not bad. Just not if you go too fast. It's pretty good. Not as good as the as paint in terms of sensitivity. But you get an eraser. The eraser only works in 3 sizes or everything. Not so sure about that. The pen, you get a variety of different pens. You can set them, you know, different sizes. There's a brush. Not quite so great here in with a capacitive pen because you haven't got pressure sensitivity or anything. So anything you do, you've got no pressure sensitivity. It's always the same pressure. However, you know, it works, and this would be good enough for me to erase and go all. So in this app, I could actually pick a thin pen, make it thin, and make it black. Come to the page, and I could start, you know, doing a simple navigation thing, you know, site sections along the top, menu down the side here, whatever, context information, and so on, and a footer. I could, you know, discuss things with the client and show them what I'm doing. So that's exactly what I wanted to be able to do. The menus stay in place. That's fine. At least they're useful menus. There's an undo right there, which is nice and quick and easy to use. Now there's one very strange thing about this app I found, is that line I drew across there like that. It took me ages to get that because I kept going, and I'm drawing it right now. I'm pushing on the screen, push, and across. Nothing. Doesn't show up. Very strange. Same thing from the bottom. Doesn't show up. Turns out there's a dead area all the way around the edge of the screen. You have to start a little way in, and then you can do it. If you start all the way out, it doesn't work. If you start a little way in, and if we go the other way with a nice thick line, we can sort of see where it stops. Yeah, we keep drawing against it. We can see that there's the line, and on the bottom also there's the line. So you can see there's that dead space. Given that it's dead space, I should have just made it, you know, different color or something, so you don't even try to use it. But that thing where you start drawing there and then it doesn't show you anything was weird. I can figure that out. Apart from that, not too bad. Insert, photos, images, video, record video, sound, so you can put notes in. It's a bit like OneNote, and it's nice that you don't have to save anything. Don't know where the sharing goes. Yep, SkyDrive. Okay, so you can, when you're finished with something, just close it, and it's saved. So that's nice, just like OneNote. That's not bad. I thought that was bloatware at first, but it's not a bad app, so it's worth keeping if you got that on your Asus. Next thing I tried, EverNote. Always heard about EverNote. Used it once, long, 10 years ago more, on an old Pocket PC or something, or an early Windows mobile phone. I've forgotten. Now this app, let me just quickly sign in. I can't pause this, so won't be a second. This is my actual sign in, so don't want to have it on screen. Not that I care, because I'm not going to use this app, really. And then okay, invalid username, oh, for God's sakes. Right, okay, I'm in. Now, this app, I had a lot of trouble with. I couldn't make heads or tails of this. I expected to come in here, make a note, right? I got into a total mess with this whole hierarchy of notes and stuff. Totally unintuitive. I have to say, I had a terrible experience with this app. Finally figured out that you have to come up to this level, swipe up, and then you can make, way down your bottom right, you can go new note, and then you can make a new note, which you can only do by typing in this serif font for some reason. So you type, right, and then you think, okay, well now I can go back out, right, to something else. You can't. You have to do this. You have to press that, and then if you want to come in and edit it again, you can't just start using it. You have to press that again and edit it. So you've got to keep using this little, save and edit and lock button up in the top right corner, which vanishes off the page. There it is. In order to work with your notes. So you have to save things. I lost my first several notes instantly. I had trouble with this. Anyhow, the biggest letdown is you can't draw. There's no drawing in this. I went back to their page on the store, and I did see there was a notice saying that it doesn't let you do any drawings or anything. It just lets you view other notes and make typed notes. So that's a letdown. Not really worth messing with. And I really wouldn't even bother with it. Uninstall that. Gone. So I wasn't feeling too good at this point. However, there's one more app that I think I should show you, because I remembered the Microsoft Windows 8 ads I'd seen on YouTube. And there's this app here called Fresh Paint. And so I downloaded that. They had a little girl using it on an all-in-one PC in the lounge or something, and using it like an artist's easel. And it's very effective and very good. And I thought, I bet that's a nice app. And sure enough, it is. It's free. You come in here. The cost is these packs, which are like drawing books. So you $1.99 for a pack there, creative pack. Gives you these basically photos. These are photos, and there's an outline of it, and it just gives you the photo. And the idea is that kids learn how to color things in, and so on. And so I just tried it out. It's like a coloring book, like buying coloring books. And so it comes with one free coloring book, which was this one. And it has some things that are half painted, and then it's like this turtle here, which is just an outline. And so I had to play with that one. Oops, I've loaded it up. Okay. Well, there it is. There's the turtle. And what you can do is you can turn that off like that, and you can start, drawing it. So use that to trace. You've got an undo button there, and I'm just going to get out of this because I have one I prepared earlier when I first played with this. And so I go to my paintings. Now I've got that one that I've just done, but I've also got the one that I actually did. And this was, 15-20 minutes of playing with the app and just using the palettes, and didn't read any instructions and was able to color it in like that. And this app too lets you move around if you use 2 fingers. If I use 1 finger, it'll treat it like a stylus or a paintbrush, but if I use 2, I can move it around, and I can also zoom in and out like that. But I just did it all at the one size because I didn't know I could zoom in and out until afterwards. It lets you mix your paints up here. You can mix all your colors together. You can make new colors. There's different brushes. There's an eraser. You can set up your canvas, paper textures, and so on. Give it an undercoat. Very useful is the ability to, just like when you're doing a real painting, if you're painting over wet paint, it mixes all the paint together. But if you want it to dry, as if you've been away for a while, there's a little fan button down here. You just push that and it dries the paint. So then you can start painting over the paint that was there. But the neatest thing about this app is the quality. Oops, I've just made a mark. Let me get rid of that. Is the quality of the paint, of the fake paint. I'm very impressed with it. You can zoom in to, long way. And it looks very good. There's the texture of the canvas coming through, and the paint, it's like it's oil, with no obvious repeating pattern. It just follows your strokes as if it were paint. It looks very realistic here when you see. It's not so good on the YouTube video, but it's quite amazing. Very impressed with that. Very cool application. So I'm definitely going to have a play with this a bit more. I'm not going to use it with clients to design websites, but I will fiddle with it. So I've just made some marks there by mistake, like that. I'll just undo them. Get it back to where I was there. And that worked fine with the stylus. I think obviously with a proper active digitizer, you'd get pressure. So this was all done without having pressure sensitivity. I just did it changing the strokes and just mucking about. But overall, quite pleased with that. You can save your images, you can take one for the camera, do whatever. So I'm going to back out of that, all the way back up. So anyhow, the net result of all this is I quite like this pen for a capacitive stylus. That's a nice one. This Targus, whatever it is, don't know who they are, but it wasn't cheap. But it's a nice pen. I like a good fat pen. Nice to hold. Got the laser pointer. Pretty cool. Will I always keep it with me when I use this? Probably, because I always need a pen. I always keep a pen with me. And so, yeah, I will use that. And I quite like using a stylus with the computer. It's quite nice. In particular, the desktop is an improvement, especially if you have a higher, even higher res screen than I do here. You can go down, you can tap on these things a bit easier than your finger, just because you've got a bit of slightly better point to it. So that's fun. Quite useful for that. Useful for keeping your screen clean, that's for sure. Better than keeping your dirty fingers off it. In terms of being able to do what I wanted, which is do basic sketches, it's between OneNote Desktop and SuperNote. I want to have everything in OneNote because that's how I'm working, is keeping everything in one place. So it's irritating when something is not inside one of my existing tabs and notebooks in OneNote. So that's a problem. I don't like that. However, it's feasible to use SuperNote here to do some sketches and export it, or just do a screenshot or whatever and drop it into OneNote. I can do that. I think that's the only one I'll use, is SuperNote and perhaps the OneNote desktop if I desperately need to do something. The other apps, that I'll just play with fresh paint. I tried a couple more in the marketplace that had some reasonably good reviews, but I didn't like any of them. None of them were any good. None of the other drawing apps that I saw. There might be someone else. If someone else knows of a good app, let me know. I'd like to try it out with this. Hopefully that'll let you decide whether this is going to work for you, this type of stylus on this type of tablet. As I say, if you're not really planning on doing stylus work, this tablet's fantastic. The dual-core Atom with full desktop experience. I'm loving it. Really nice. If you're going to be doing a lot of stylus work and you still want this form factor, I would go for something like the Lenovo ThinkPad 2, which is also dual-core Atom. Similarly thin, same 10-inch screen, has a stylus built in, and it's a proper active digitizer. If I was buying this again new, I would probably spring the extra cash and get the Lenovo. I don't want a bigger tablet, didn't want a bigger screen or anything, but if you want a bigger screen because maybe you're going to do artwork, in particular if you're going to do, real art on it with a pen all the time, you should get a Core i3, a Core i5 tablet, Surface Pro, something with a bigger screen. That will give you much better results with, for fine, detailed handwork. And that's about all I can say. There is maybe one more thing. The phone. There's this idea of, well, how does it work? Is it any use on a phone? As someone who used tablet PCs for years, phones with styli for years, it's a good question. Is it any use on the phone? Well, these modern phones, of course, don't need a stylus. Stylus is pretty useful, in particular, if you're going to be clicking links on web pages here. You can click a link without having to zoom in, that sort of thing. You can just tap it like that. So that's quite nice. So useful for that, and again, for keeping your screen clean. OneNote on, I'm always trying to close things by dragging down from the top. OneNote on the phone also does not let you draw notes, so that's a bit of a letdown. I'm sure there are apps in here, and I'm not using them. There are paint apps. In fact, I do have one on here, which I've hardly used, but Fantasia Painter, free. This is an app for painting. Lets you do all kinds of stuff. Ooh, let's see. Well, that's a nice bit of a color for a start. Okay. Different stroke. No. New stroke. Change. Ooh, look at all that. Furball. Darken. Smudge. Yeah, if you wanted to use an app like this, you'd probably be best off with a stylus like this. You can obviously do things with your fingers. It's sort of okay. Might be of use for that sort of thing, but I'm not going to sit around and do handwriting on this like we used to do with Pocket PCs and Palm PDAs and that sort of thing where you'd write down here. That's not going to happen. Not with this. That's really a finger device. So no, I wouldn't bother with one of these for the phone unless you just want to keep it clean. I'll wrap it up there. Leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.